back to the channel. Today we're going to unravel some incredibly complex events in Genoa. Rumors are circulating around the Newman family, but what's the truth? In this video, I'll summarize the plot points that will be revealed in the next episode. Stay tuned to see what happens.
Welcome back to our channel, your ultimate source for everything happening in Genoa City. Today is a fantastic day to dive deep into the treacherous, shadow-filled corners of our favorite daytime drama. Grab your coffee and settle in, because the upcoming twists are about to leave you absolutely speechless. The sprawling, cutthroat landscape of Genoa City is no stranger to explosive deceptions, but the current storyline brewing in the shadows promises to deliver a catastrophic shockwave. At the epicenter of this impending disaster is a highly toxic, deeply manipulative dynamic unfolding between Phyllis Summers and the enigmatic, incredibly dangerous Matt Clark. As spoilers indicate, a secret conspiracy is taking shape, one where a seemingly vulnerable and trustworthy figure is meticulously revealing himself to be a cold-blooded mastermind. Matt Clark, hiding behind the convenient veil of his partial amnesia, is orchestrating a devastating psychological and financial coup. His primary target is the brilliant but currently emotionally fractured Phyllis Summers, who is unwittingly handing him the very weapons he needs to annihilate her and the Newman family. To understand how a fiercely independent and brilliantly cunning woman like Phyllis Summers could fall into such a treacherous trap, we must first examine the profound psychological devastation she has recently endured. Phyllis is currently operating from a place of extreme vulnerability. Having been mercilessly ousted from Newman Enterprises, outmaneuvered by Victor Newman's ruthless artificial intelligence framing, and alienated from her own son, Daniel Romalotti Jr., Phyllis is entirely isolated. The loss of the Summers conglomerate was not just a financial blow, it was a deeply personal humiliation that shattered her confidence and left her desperately craving an ally. She is a wounded lioness, backed into a corner, completely stripped of her usual corporate armor. This profound isolation creates the perfect, fertile breeding ground for a predator like Matt Clark to plant his seeds of manipulation. Matt Clark is nothing if not a master of predatory observation. Recognizing Phyllis's fragile state, he approaches her not as an adversary, but as a fellow victim of the Newman machine. Matt brilliantly weaponizes his current predicament, being held under the strict, suffocating thumb of Victor Newman, to forge an artificial bond of trauma and rebellion with Phyllis. He presents himself as a desperate man, trapped by Victor's blackmail and longing to break free from the oppressive control of the mustache. By playing the role of the helpless pawn seeking guidance from a seasoned corporate warrior, Matt effectively disarms Phyllis. He appeals directly to her ego and her deeply ingrained hatred for Victor, framing his requests for help as a mutual alliance against a common enemy. This calculated vulnerability is the ultimate Trojan horse, allowing Matt to bypass her defenses. As Matt continues to play the sympathetic victim, a dangerous and intoxicating romantic dynamic begins to blossom between them. Phyllis, starved for affection and desperate to feel like the powerful main character of her own life once again, finds herself deeply drawn to Matt's undeniable charm and his apparent reliance on her intellect. Their clandestine meetings at the Grand Phoenix and dimly lit corners of Genoa City are charged with a magnetic chemistry. Matt showers her with the exact type of attention she has been lacking. He listens to her grievances, validates her anger toward the Newmans, and makes her feel indispensable. For Phyllis, this blooming romance is a soothing balm over her recent corporate burns. It offers her an illusion of safety and a thrilling sense of rebellion against the established order, blinding her to the terrifying reality of his true intentions. Beneath the carefully curated exterior of the amnesiac seeking redemption, Matt Clark's dark, sociopathic urges are violently resurfacing. The man who once terrorized Sharon and Nick Newman, who orchestrated kidnappings and manipulated fentanyl addictions, is slowly waking up from his cognitive slumber. While he maintains the innocent facade for Phyllis, the shadows in his mind are lengthening. Matt is no longer just trying to survive Victor's demands, he is actively plotting to conquer and destroy everything in his path. The thrill of the hunt, the intoxicating rush of manipulating a formidable woman like Phyllis, is feeding his dormant predatory instincts. He is a monster hiding in plain sight, and the more Phyllis trusts him, the more emboldened he becomes. Matt's internal monologue is shifting from self-preservation to absolute domination. The true genius of Matt's conspiracy lies in his method of extraction. He never outright demands sensitive information from Phyllis. Instead, he cleverly disguises his interrogations as innocent requests for business advice. Claiming he needs to understand the inner workings of Newman Enterprises to successfully navigate Victor's traps, Matt poses seemingly harmless questions about corporate structures, financial vulnerabilities, and the Newman family's personal blind spots. He plays to Phyllis's vanity, praising her unparalleled knowledge of Victor's empire, encouraging her to show off her strategic brilliance. He might ask about how Victor usually structures his shell companies, or inquire about the weakest link in Victoria's management style when Phyllis was running the conglomerate. These questions are meticulously designed to drain Phyllis of every drop of insider knowledge she possesses. Blinded by the intoxicating romance and her own vindictive desire to see Victor outsmarted, Phyllis unwittingly hands over the literal keys to the Newman kingdom. During their intimate dinners and hushed conversations, she spills highly classified, sensitive information regarding Newman Enterprises' upcoming acquisitions, Victor's hidden financial accounts, and the fragile personal dynamics currently fracturing the family. Phyllis details the exact loopholes she exploited during her brief tenure as the head of the Summers conglomerate, completely unaware that she is providing Matt with a comprehensive blueprint for destruction. She believes she is arming a fellow rebel with the tools to survive. In reality, she is equipping a sociopathic mastermind with the nuclear launch codes required to obliterate the most powerful family in Genoa City. Every secret she shares is another nail in the coffin. While Phyllis sleeps soundly, believing she has found a kindred spirit, Matt is wide awake, meticulously compiling the data she has so freely given him. He is building a massive, encrypted arsenal of corporate secrets, financial routing numbers, and highly sensitive personal blackmail material. Matt's secret data collection is not just about escaping Victor, it is about orchestrating a hostile takeover of unprecedented proportions. He cross-references Phyllis's insider knowledge with intel he is simultaneously gathering from his forced interactions with Kane Ashby at Chancellor Industries. Matt is weaving a colossal web of financial ruin, preparing to strike at the very heart of the Newman Empire. He knows exactly where Victor's assets are most vulnerable, and thanks to Phyllis, he knows precisely when and how to launch his devastating attack to ensure maximum casualties. The sheer volume of lies Matt is currently juggling is staggering, and the tension is reaching a boiling point. He is playing a lethally dangerous game of multidimensional chess. To Victor, he plays the obedient, amnesiac servant, dutifully spying on Kane Ashby and reporting back to the Newman ranch. To Kane, he plays the eager, slightly bumbling protege, while simultaneously feeding him false information to sabotage Chancellor Industries from the inside out. And to Phyllis, he plays the devoted, desperate lover, entirely dependent on her brilliance to survive the cruel machinations of the Newman patriarch. These intersecting deceptions require Matt to constantly shift his persona, leading to a precarious balancing act where a single misstep could bring his entire house of cards crashing down. The lies are piling up so high that they are beginning to bleed into one another. Despite her legendary intuition, Phyllis is willfully ignoring a glaring parade of red flags. There are moments when Matt's mask slips a chilling deadness in his eyes when Victor's name is mentioned, a flash of cruel, calculated intelligence that contradicts his supposed amnesia, or inconsistencies in his timeline regarding his whereabouts. Furthermore, Phyllis is actively dismissing the frantic, desperate warnings from those who know Matt's true nature. Sharon Newman has explicitly warned her that Matt is a dangerous, pathological liar who delights in inflicting pain, yet Phyllis turns a blind eye. She chooses to believe the fantasy Matt has constructed, ignoring the ominous signs that the man she is confiding in is slowly tightening a noose around her neck and the necks of everyone she loves. Nick Newman has expressed his profound disgust at her association with the man who nearly killed him in Las Vegas. Yet, driven by her desperate need for validation, Phyllis rationalizes away every warning, tragically sealing her own fate. However, not everyone in Genoa City is blinded by Matt's charade. Noah Newman, fiercely protective of his family and deeply suspicious of the man who terrorized his mother, is quietly watching from the shadows. Utilizing his high-tech skills, Noah begins a covert deep dive into Matt's recent online activities and financial footprint. What he uncovers is a chilling trail of complex financial transactions and encrypted communications that point directly to a massive, coordinated conspiracy. Noel is slowly piecing together the terrifying reality that Matt is not a helpless pawn, but a highly sophisticated predator preparing to strike. Armed with incredibly sensitive Newman family secrets provided by Phyllis, Matt possesses the power to trigger a total financial collapse of Newman Enterprises. When the truth finally erupts, when Noah presents the undeniable proof of Matt's grand deception, the psychological devastation awaiting Phyllis Summers will be absolute. She will be forced to confront the horrifying reality that she did not outsmart Victor Newman. She merely handed a loaded gun to a sociopath and pointed it directly at her own family. The realization that her vulnerability, her loneliness, and her desperate need for love were ruthlessly weaponized against her will shatter her remaining sanity. Phyllis will have to look Nick, Summer, and Daniel in the eye and admit that her blind arrogance and toxic romance enabled a monster to wage war on their family. This betrayal will cut deeper than any corporate loss, leaving her entirely broken and drowning in a suffocating ocean of guilt. The clock is rapidly ticking down to 0 in Genoa City. Matt Clark is currently standing on the precipice of absolute victory, his dark urges fully awakened and his arsenal fully loaded with Phyllis's unwittingly surrendered secrets. He is savoring the delicious irony of using Victor Newman's greatest rival to dismantle his empire from the inside out. The tension is palpable, a thick, suffocating fog hanging over the city as the pieces move into their final positions. Will Noah Newman be able to expose the complete depth of Matt's financial manipulation before the final trigger is pulled? The impending collision of these massive,